Bro, so we low-key gotta talk about this. Kendrick Lamar just dropped a new album, and it's really interesting. You should give it a listen. May not be super your thing, but he's speaking very directly in it, and there's probably some songs in there that you'll like a lot. I know you're a fan of hip-hop and stuff, but he has this line. He's calling out a lot of shit in this album, and he has this line where he says, never let a white comedian diss on a black woman, that's law. And he says something else too about like, I don't care who's in the room, I'm sliding on all of you, you know. So it's just it's kind of like a line he just throws out there, you know, as a way of basically saying like, you know, as rappers, you know, there needs to be some like, I don't know, some like enforcement of the rules in the culture, right? You know, like you can't just let motherfuckers get away with saying anything, you know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes to black women, etc. You know what I mean? So it's just an interesting thing to say. But I couldn't quite tell who he was talking about. But I think people are saying it's Schultz. Because Schultz recently had some controversy where he made some joke about a black lady and then like had to apologize for it, or he said something about it. I don't know if he did like a whack impression or something like that. I didn't look that deep into what the actual joke was, but it seems like that's what people are saying. Some other people speculated that he might have been talking about Matt Rife, but it seems like Schultz is the most likely one because he had that controversy recently, and also he has that set up with like the room full of friends, and that was part of what Kendrick said too, like, I don't care who's in the room, sliding on all you, blah blah blah. So that's interesting to me. I wonder, they're probably going to respond to it. I wonder if some of these comedy channels are going to say anything about it. I wonder if they're going to catch that. Because I don't know, that's a pretty direct call out. And, you know, Kendrick's not the type that's actually going to do anything to anybody necessarily, but he wants to put people on notice, you know what I mean? And let people know, like, it's not all fucking jokes out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people take this shit seriously. So, but it's just crazy to see him go directly after Schultz, who also has a relationship with Charlemagne the God. I don't know if you've ever seen that. They used to do a pod. I think the original Flagrant was with Charlemagne the God. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But Charlemagne is a big hip-hop like commentator in the radio world and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. Kendrick dissing comedians. Gotta love it.
Oh, damn. I didn't know his new album dropped. Okay, I'll check that out. Yeah, I knew it was coming, but I hadn't realized it dropped already. I do like Kendrick. No one spits like him. But as far as calling out a comedian for dissing a black woman, I hadn't heard anything about that. I mean, I didn't even know the album dropped, so clearly. But yeah, when you first started describing it, I assumed it was like defending Kamala, and maybe because there's a lot of comedians calling her out or making fun of her. But I didn't realize there was a specific thing about Schultz. Somehow I missed all that. I find that guy obnoxious as it is, so I'm extra glad someone's calling him out. I think some of these comedians need to be called out a little bit. Obviously, I think you can pretty much say whatever you want, especially in comedy, but people comedians try and use that as a fucking shield against saying whatever. It's like, you can say whatever you want, but there will be consequences, you know, and there should be consequences for saying some things. But it is interesting to see these guys put in check sometimes. I wonder if that's what it was specifically, or if we'll ever know for sure. But it will be interesting to go ahead and watch some of these podcasts and see if they respond to it or pick up on it, like you said. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. If they hear someone like Schultz, I mean, comedians are pretty egocentric. They think everything's about themselves, so I'm sure especially if there is something about him, he'll know right away. So it'll be interesting to see how he responds to it for sure.
Yeah, we'll see if Schultz has anything to say about it. We'll find out. But yeah, fuck Schultz. I'm not really feeling Schultz these days. I think he kind of sucks. And Anthony Jeselnik made the point that anybody who has a politician like Trump on their platform for like hours and doesn't challenge them, doesn't fuck with them at all, you're not a comedian, you're just a podcaster, you're just podcasting. And that's exactly how I feel about Schultz. Like, he's just a podcaster. Not to fully take away his like comedian credibility. He obviously like still does big shows. I don't even necessarily think he's bad at what he does, but you know, there's really just not any kind of integrity there to me. If you're gonna have a politician, you're not gonna fuck with him as a comedian, and you're not gonna question him seriously as a journalist, then like, what the fuck are you doing? You're just being a lackey. You're just presenting this person to an audience. That's all you're doing. You're just a conduit between this person and the millions of people that watch you for whatever reason. So yeah, I'm definitely here for some fuck Andrew Schultz energy.
Schultz, my opinions on him are pretty low. I've never been a huge fan of his comedy. I don't find it like offensively bad, like someone like David Lucas or something. He's going to be my punching bag for a long time. I really don't like David Lucas. He just rubs me the wrong way in a lot of different ways. But I don't find Schultz's comedy that bad. It's just not my thing. But yeah, his takes have always been kind of garbage on the podcast. The clips I've seen, I've never actually watched an episode of, Flagrant. But I did. I know I've seen clips of him and Charlamagne's old show. I could see them getting hooked up just because he said he was Charlamagne the God was a hip hop commentator. Schultz has always been into hip hop, and for a while in the comedy scene, you didn't see a lot of crossover. Now there's huge crossover, but I would say in the early 2000s, you didn't see a lot of crossover in the hip hop and comedy world. It was starting to. Acts like Patrice O'Neal and stuff like that, I think, really helped bridge the gap, and just comics coming up that were big hip-hop fans, and then, you know, hip-hop artists that were comic fans. You started seeing a lot more of it in like the mid-2000s to early 2010s, and then with podcasts and stuff, everything started getting cross-pollinated, at least from where I sat. But yeah, I don't really care for Flagrant or Schultz at all. If you're, like you said, if you're gonna have a politician on there, you gotta challenge them, you gotta fuck with them a little bit, unless it's someone that you just completely endorse and back and are just using your podcast to give them a platform because you really want to see them elected, which I think he was trying to act like that's not what it was. I think he was trying to stay middle of the road. When I've heard him comment on Trump in the past, he talks about like how funny he is, but makes fun of him too and stuff like that. But then Trump actually gets on the show and he's just sucking his dick the whole time. So it's pretty pathetic. So did you see where, I guess Jamie Foxx is... Oh, my son's coming up to me on, hey, buddy. Oh, no. Wearing your Lizzo shirt, huh? I believe she's canceled. You might want to change to a Lotto shirt. All right, Dad's gonna record a message. What's it? Did you see where Jamie Foxx apparently was recording a new stand-up special, which, first of all, it's just awesome he's recording another stand-up special. That guy can really do anything. I mean, he's an amazing comedian, an amazing singer, really decent rapper, amazing actor, does the world's best Donald Trump impression. Like, your guy can do fucking anything. But apparently during the recording of the special, he says that he's the one who called the FBI on Diddy. Which, like, that's a bombshell. I'm sure a lot of people have called the FBI on Diddy over the years, but, you know, maybe someone with a little more weight, or his call carried a little more weight, I should say. But that's interesting. And he says he did it because Diddy poisoned him. Do you remember, I don't know, maybe it was a year ago, when Jamie Foxx was, like, really sick and in the hospital and potentially gonna die from some mysterious ailment and then got better? Apparently, that was it. That Diddy poisoned him and it almost killed him, so he called the FBI. Which, I mean, good on him. It's interesting, though. I wonder, like, you knew this stuff was going on with Diddy and you didn't call the FBI till he poisoned you? Or maybe he didn't know what was going on, and when he found out, he told Diddy it wasn't cool, and Diddy tried to silence him because he thought he was going to go to the FBI. Maybe he was scared of him. Maybe he thought he's known for years, and he's like, well, if I go, I'm fucked. And then Diddy poison him? He's like, well, he's trying to kill me anyway, so I might as well rat him out. I don't know what the whole situation was. I didn't even hear the bit. I just, you know, heard it secondhand that he said that during it. So we'll see what comes of that, but that seems pretty interesting.
Whoa, so is that supposed to be real? That he's the one who called the fucking feds on Diddy? Or is he like joking? Because if that's real, that's fucking crazy. It's crazy how much of a menace Diddy was, bro. It's like, you know, people make like little jokes about it, but the more you look into what the dude was actually doing, he was on fucking like super villain time, bro. Because like poisoning people, I don't know if you heard this, but there's a story that he attempted to blow up Kid Cudi's car. At some point, Kid Cudi had issues, maybe because Kid Cudi rejected in advance or wanted something Diddy wanted to sign him with something and he refused. Something like that happened, or something related to a girl. I don't know. But Diddy blew up Kid Cudi's car, or he like tried to and failed. But obviously Kid Cudi wasn't in it. He survived this. But like there was an attempt to blow up a car with Kid Cudi in it. But as far as Jamie Foxx not coming forward about it until later, I don't know. It's kind of like if you knew somebody was a creep or doing something really bad, but you didn't have any proof, right? You only heard stories. But then one day that person did something to you. That person literally poisoned you. It's like, okay, now you're in a position where this person did something to me and I know they did. So now I have a claim. Now I can go to the FBI or whatever, and it's not just a tip. This is real information that's at least somewhat verifiable. So I can understand how that would be, for one individual, the straw that broke the camel's back, where it's like, okay, now I have the ability. What comes to my mind for that is that I doubt that was the first interaction that they had. Because like I said, Diddy was doing this with a lot of people in the black community, especially high up people, very well-known black celebrities. That was part of what he was getting off on. And so, I wouldn't be surprised if that wasn't their first encounter. And it was rather just the straw that broke the camel's back, and the thing that finally made him say, like, this dude tried to fucking kill me. And wow, that's crazy, because I do remember that. And it to me at the time, I remember it being more that reported that he had some kind of stroke or something like that. So I wonder if that was induced by whatever he was supposedly given. Wow, this is revealed in a comedy special that Jamie Foxx did. That's fucking nuts.
I mean, yeah, Diddy's definitely been on some supervillain shit for a while. I mean, going back to the 90s, right? Isn't he linked to Tupac and Biggie's murders? I mean, it's definitely a rumor I've heard. You hear a lot of names thrown around about that, Suge Knight being one of the biggest. And I wouldn't put it past Suge Knight. That dude has definitely done some shit in his life. But, I believe it was Eminem I first heard call out Diddy about potentially being linked to Tupac and Biggie's deaths. And I could see definitely if you got away with something like that so long ago, or if he got away with something like that so long ago, it could totally embolden him to keep pulling his shit and doing more and more shit. I mean, you get away with murdering one of the biggest stars in the world, much less potentially two of the biggest stars in the world. Of course, you're going to feel like you're untouchable. And to an extent, when you're rich and if you're getting away with shit like that and you got dirt on people, you kind of are, or at least for a long time till you push it too far, which, maybe he did. And I understand what you're saying about Jamie Foxx wanting to wait till he had something more concrete to go forward. I get that. Even though Diddy's like parties and sex pest stuff were definitely known, I don't think everyone really knew about the extent of the human trafficking and actual like legit crimes that were being committed. I'm sure there were rumors of it and stuff. You definitely heard stuff like that before, but like actually knowing it firsthand, I'm sure a lot of these people just thought he was a creep, not necessarily criminal level disgusting. So I didn't have this on my bingo card for the weekend, but I guess Matt Gaetz I keep wanting to say pulled out of the race, but that's not how it works. He recused himself from being Donald Trump's attorney general nominee. I'm not sure exactly why. I'm out at the moment, but I just saw a headline and skimmed an article. I need to read up on it some more. I do know the ethics investigation was going on with him right now, so I'm assuming it had something to do with that. But speaking of dubious ethics, I did see in that article I was skimming that he apparently joined Cameo, which is, if you're not familiar with Cameo, but it's a service where, mostly B to D list celebrities will record video messages for you that you request, oftentimes as a gift for somebody else. Like, oh, my buddy's a big, Tom Selleck fan, so I'm getting Tom Selleck to record one. I'm sure he's probably too big of a... It's like a lot of, like, either washed up older celebrities or, like, reality TV stars and, like, D-list celebrities. But it's a neat little service. I got one for my son's mom one time from her favorite band, frontman. It's a neat little service. But it's weird to have politicians on it in the first place. And Matt Gaetz joining directly after he steps down as the Attorney General nominee is funny. Also, what's funny is usually when you see those, they're around like $50 to get a short little video made. Sometimes a couple $100 if it's like a bigger celebrity. He has the highest I've ever seen anyone request, which is $525 to make a cameo. I don't know the details of how long or whatever, but usually they're pretty short, like a couple minute videos at most. So good on him, I guess. He'll probably make some money off, a bunch of dumb people.
Wow, him being on Cameo really does paint a picture. He not only did he withdraw from consideration for the Attorney General, he also dropped out of the Senate, or not the Senate, in the House. I think he resigned. But the thing is, he had just won re-election, so he resigned from this session of the House. But then I think he's going to be able to come back. We'll see. It depends on how controversial he remains if he comes back to the House, because I think he fully expected that he'd be able to squeak through on this whole thing. And I think, honestly, he probably would have. He's not even the only one on Trump's cabinet so far that's been accused of sexual crimes. But I think the problem is that his own colleagues, the Republicans, hate him so much that, they just made it a problem for him. They were so horrified by the idea of him being Attorney General that they made it a big enough deal that he had to step down. So he lost both of his jobs. He might literally just not know what his future is as a career politician, and be having to look for some scratch. So fuck that guy.
Indeed, fuck that guy. But I'm just wondering what that means that they found out, because he's been accused of that stuff for a while now, right? So does that mean there's more shit that's been uncovered that he got tipped off about, or maybe the accusations have some evidence now or something like that? He's worried that shit's gonna come home to actually get him, or it's just like you said, the Republicans are so fucking horrified at the idea of him as Attorney General, they're pushing him out and acting like they don't care about sex criminals anymore. That's nuts. It's crazy to me that he could resign for just this term and then still be eligible for the next that he won, but I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that it's definitely a fair assumption that there's more that we don't know. How much more? Who knows? It's also possible that they just found a bunch of indisputable evidence, and that's what's in the report. So once that comes out, he's totally fucked. But I mean, to my mind, to somebody who opposes all these freaks, it's not like accusations like this have ever slowed them down. Trump has been accused by 100 women of various kinds of sexual assault. He's been found liable in civil court of rape, and it's none of that really seems to matter. So I kind of don't blame Matt Gaetz for thinking he could squeak by on this. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what it could be that's so bad that even Trump can't get away with appointing him. And it comes back to the fact that I think his colleagues just hate him so much that they probably made the report incredibly scathing. Even if it is just what we already know, they probably went out of their way to make it a super damaging report, mainly because they wanted him out of Congress, or who knows what the motive was there. Like I said, I'm pretty sure it's the Republicans that run the ethics committee. So, but yeah, I don't, who knows? There could totally be more of it. To me, he just seems like kind of a douchebag that likes to hire prostitutes, and probably young ones if he can find them, So I don't know how much sicker than that it gets. It's, that's sick enough. But, I don't know. He doesn't strike me as some kind of horrific monster or something like that, but he could be. None of it's out of the question with these people. And I mean, clearly the person that he's become in the world is pretty monstrous. So it's fair to assume that he's even worse behind closed doors. I don't know. I don't know what it would be that they could be hiding at this point. Dude, Marjorie Taylor Greene said some crazy shit. She said she's basically been on Matt Gaetz' side. They've got a blood pact or something. But she said that if they release that report, she's going to release information that she has on a bunch of other Republicans about their weird sex stuff. And that she's made a bunch of other statements about it. It's very possible that that's why it's become such an issue, is because some Republicans, that may have wanted it released, now realize that they're vulnerable to that, or there's conflict between people who feel they are and aren't vulnerable to that, and so they're going after each other. I don't know. But she also said that, I'm pretty sure this is an actual quote, she said that if every member of Congress who was guilty of the same things that Matt Gaetz is guilty of or accused of, the Democrats would have a supermajority. So, I guess she's our strongest soldier.
That's fucking hilarious, and I am all for it. I am 100% for these Republicans fighting amongst themselves, shooting each other in the foot, and taking themselves down, because, obviously the Democrats can't do it. And, if she's got shit on that many members of Congress that are Republican, that are sex pests or creeps, maybe she has some on the Dems too. Take them all out. Fucking release it all, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'll root for you for the first time.
She's too tied to the Republican Party. No matter how much she wants to pretend that she's going against them, going against the establishment, she's never going to do something that hurts the Republican Party as a whole, except for just her general political antics, which always seem to drag the party down. And that's a good thing. And it seems like that's our greatest ally right now, is their own incompetence, which was already bound to be the case. That was the case last time. It was the case during the 2020 coup. And it's the case now where, Trump had a lot of momentum coming off of that election. And, he fucked it up fast by just making these weird picks. And it's not enough that these people are just weird professionally, like they don't seem qualified. He picks a guy from Fox News who has weird tattoos to be a fucking like the Department of Defense or something, like a really high up position. And this guy has fucking rape allegations, and it's not enough that these guys just aren't fit for the job. It's they also have to be sex pests and sex criminals. And it's man, it is a reminder that even Trump is capable of shooting himself in the foot, which he did over and over again on the campaign trail as well. That's the thing. It's I think him winning kind of made us all have to stop and think for a second and be like, is everything Trump does, genius or whatever? Is it all purposeful? Do people love everything he does? And I don't think that's the case. I think people just sort of block out a lot of his general buffoonery. And it was impossible to do that during his last term. So we're off to a good start already. And the Republicans fighting with each other definitely seems to be the main thing that's going to save our asses. But I don't know. They've gotten it together in the past. I think I kind of remember things being similar to this when Trump first got elected in 2016, except for the fact that there weren't as many insane Republicans in Congress. Now he has this caucus of lunatics, and they're totally loyal to him, but they're not very good legislators. They're not good politicians, so they're not good at maneuvering. And so whether they're going to be effective at anything, they're going to gain a lot of power while Trump's in power and a lot of influence. But whether they're going to be able to actually wield that effectively, I don't know. And if Marjorie Taylor Greene wants to literally burn the entire party down, then I support that as well.